Well, hello friends, Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Who Sports Report. Without you guys, this doesn't work. You know, it's crazy for me to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys, a guy who does construction work for a living, you know? That here I am covered with paint, like I could be an expert on football or anything. But it's all good because with social media, we all can put our opinions out there. And don't worry, because people are like, oh, Mark's losing it. Mark's going to lose it. I'm going to get some popcorn and see him just basically go crazy. I ain't going crazy. But you can get your popcorn ready and keep back and watch it and wait for it. But I'm amazed at how easy ESPN and the talking heads manipulate people. When I'm working, do a lot of thinking. If you ride with me in the car, most times I don't have the radio on because my mind is always thinking, you know? Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night with an idea on how to fix something or things that just come to me. And so I'm always trying to keep my brain going. And I was sitting here because sometimes what will happen is something will refresh and kick back to something else, and you can all put it in relate. And so back to how ESPN and the talking heads and all that stuff manipulate us, or how easily we are influenced. Maybe that's a better way to put it. I remember talking to the stinking Giant fan when we were at the DC Defenders football game 2 weeks ago. And we got talking about Dak Prescott. And the Giant fans started saying, oh, Dak is not very good. He's not good because, look at it, he gets all his yards in garbage time. It's like, wait a minute. Stop. How you gonna talk about another man's quarterback when your quarterback, Danny Dimes, who had to get a payday loan, who had to get a payday loan for that 10 cents, had the most fumbles by a quarterback in the NFL, one more than Carson Wentz. That team got blown out every week. If anybody got garbage yards, you can look around and say every yard that guy got was garbage time. Now, back to my point. Before ESPN started saying this year, well, Dak Prescott, you know, a lot of those, you can't count those yards because Dak got those in garbage time. Did you ever hear that term used on any quarterback before them? Seriously. But yet now, people like Rashid are saying, well, your quarterback, he just got all those yards in garbage time. Okay. All right, let me give you another example. Dink and dunk. Remember in that 2017 season when the Cowboys didn't have any receivers? Now let's be honest. They talk about, well, Carson Wentz. He didn't have anybody to throw to this year, even though he did have Dallas Gephardt and he had Zach Ertz, right? And their offensive line actually rated out as one of the best offensive lines in football, right? They went on to say, well, Carson Wentz doesn't have anybody to throw to. And that's why his yards, also too, his guys drop a lot of passes, which they did. That's why his numbers were low. Dak Prescott lost Emmitt Smith for a while there, and lost Zeke Elliott. His receiving core was Allen Hurns, Terrence Williams, Bryce Butler, and Cole Beasley. So you can look at that group and say, well, really, the only guy that's even on the roster right now is Cole Beasley. Clearly, that wasn't a group of guys, but that was like, oh, no. Franchise quarterback elevates the guys around him and wills them to win. And they said he's a dink and dunker. And so even though 8.2 yards per pass, second in the NFL, we still say dink and dunk. And I ask you this, before Dak Prescott, when did they ever describe a quarterback as a dink and dunker? And since that time, since he's no longer dinking and dunking, as they say, have they described any other quarterback that way? So now, we have Emmitt Smith still at it, trying to explain himself about Dak Prescott should take a discount. He needs to understand that he needs to leave money on the table so Amari Cooper can do that. And we have now all these Dallas Cowboys so-called fans that say, yeah, he needs to understand that he needs to take a break. He needs to get money back. He needs to be the guy that's the team friendly. He's selfish, man, because you are easily influenced by what you see on television as opposed to thinking for yourself. Because I sit here in the same way, dinking and dunking is no longer used in the NFL since they can't use it on Dak. I ask you the same question. When have we ever heard people told you need to take a team-friendly deal and leave money on the table? I'll wait. Because we've had this discussion going on now for a year that Dak Prescott is greedy and needs to leave money on the table, yet they ain't said that. They're saying, this is how crazy it is. They're saying the guy who hasn't been paid, has been paid $4 million in his career, they're saying he's greedy. They didn't say Russell Wilson was greedy, even though he had already made $87 million when he put the gun to the head of the Seattle Seahawks and said, you're going to pay me by April 15th or I'll never sign a deal. He had already made $87 million on his last contract. But they didn't say he was greedy, that he needed to leave money on the table. Because as much as we say, if you got a great quarterback, which just brings me to another point, that all you need is a great quarterback and you win the Super Bowls. Well, if you say that, Drew Brees now has more yards than anybody else in the NFL, right? When was the last time what was it, 2008? Was that when they won the Super Bowl? He's a great quarterback. I'm not going to dispute that. But clearly, you need more than just a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, he's a Hall of Famer. He's the bad man, as Stephen A. Smith says. But he's not winning in Super Bowls right now. He's not able to do it on his own. Clearly, you need a team around you. Which does bring you back to the point of Emmitt Smith. And he does have a valid point on that. And that's a great thing in theory. But the problem with this whole thing is nobody's doing that. And if everybody has to do the same thing, if everybody has to pay a quarterback, and here's the thing. Shameless Winston. Tampa Bay is looking at it saying, you know what? We may bring him back. We'll give him a 2-year deal, $27 million a year. and we'll say 1 year's guaranteed. Well, Jameis Winston. I know what some of you are going to say, oh man, but he had the most yards in the NFL this year. True. But along with that, he had 7 picked sixes. He had 30 interceptions. Sorry, you can't win with that. So they're saying we're going to pay him 27. Tom Brady's already let known that he wants over 30. Deshaun Watson, he's not thinking about a team-friendly deal because he's like, I'm going to wait until after Pat Mahomes gets his deal. They have some holes that they need filling too. He's got the same playoff record as Dak Prescott. And your Super Bowl champion? Well, he's the face of the NFL. Emmitt Smith says, well, you're the face of the Cowboys. You can get a lot of money because you're the face of the Cowboys. I'm not going to dispute that. But see, that reminds me of a lot of times when people call me for work. Here's what happens. Hey man, listen, I can get you lots of work, man. But listen, I don't have a whole lot of money on this job. See, if you give me a friendly deal, I want you to give me a friendly deal because I'm going to get you more work and you can hit me up on the next project. And you know what happens to me every time I do that? Every time that I say, you know what, I'm going to try and help these people out because I know that they don't have much money to pay for this. I'm going to do it for next to nothing. One, yeah, they can get you more work, but their jobs they ain't paying worth jack. I can stay home and be broke. And two, those people who you try and bend over and help out and everything else, usually are the ones that are the biggest pains in the ass, that want a whole lot more stuff on top of it. So you don't do discounts. Here's what it costs to do business. If you want a better price, then you need to reduce the workload. But this is what it costs. And that's all I have to say about that. Because what Emmitt Smith is saying, it does make sense. But he should have said to Zeke, hey Zeke, listen buddy, you got that 5th-year option. Why don't you lease that money for Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott? He didn't say that. He said, brother, you got to get paid. Well, I'm going to leave it right there with that. And I'm going to keep on working my day job. As always, thank you guys for being here.